Good afternoon. I know Vice Mayor Quasman is on his way back to the dais, but in the meantime, I will go ahead and call the January 27th, 2026 City Council regular meeting to order. And City Clerk Ben Lane, can we have a roll call?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Lisa Borowski.
Present.
Vice Mayor Adam Quasman. Here. Council members Jan Duboscus.
Here.
Barry Graham.
Here.
Kathy Littlefield.
Here.
Marianne McCowan.
Present.
And Solange Whitehead.
Here.
City Manager Greg Caton.
Here.
Interim City Attorney Louis Centella.
Present.
City Treasurer Sonia Andrews.
Here.
Acting City Auditor Lake Clough.
Here.
And the clerk is present. Thank you, Mayor. And
Thank you.
Here's Vice Mayor for the record.
There we go. He is entering the building. All right, this evening we have police officers Sergeant Eric Bowles, Officer Ray Wilburn, Sergeant Mike Clore, as well as Scottsdale firefighters Travis Radke and Logan Darling. If anyone requires their assistance, please let a member of our staff know. And just in time for the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like to look to Vice Mayor Quasman to lead us.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And this evening, Councilman Graham will help us with the invocation, so take it away.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I am pleased to introduce Pastor Jason Fritz, who will give tonight's invocation. He's been kind enough to offer to give tonight's invocation. Pastor Jason Fritz is a Scottsdale native, and he founded Illuminate Community Church in Northeast Scottsdale in January of 2016. Under his leadership, Illuminate has grown as a thriving church, reaching thousands in person and online. The church places special emphasis on meeting the needs of the Valley. Just last year, they provided over 50,000 meals to low-income and homeless individuals throughout the city. He and his wife served together in ministry, seeking to cultivate a church marked by truth and grace. Again, it's my honor to introduce Pastor Jason Fritz to give the invocation for tonight's City Council meeting.
Thank you so much, Councilman Graham. Will you pray with me? Father in heaven, we thank you for the opportunity to gather today and to serve this beautiful city of Scottsdale and its people. We ask for wisdom, clarity, and especially humility as decisions are being made, that each discussion would be marked by integrity and respect and a sincere desire for the common good of the people. God, grant patience where there is disagreement, courage where difficult choices need to be made, compassion for those whose lives are affected by the decisions that are going to be made here. Pray that this would be a productive time. May our efforts contribute to the peace, safety, and the flourishing of this great community. God, we are so grateful for the privilege of public service. None of us is here in these positions by accident, but ordained by you. So we ask for your guidance and your grace and your truth as we proceed. We ask it in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. This evening, for the mayor's report, I'd like to thank everyone that attended the State of the City address last Thursday. It was a great turnout, record-breaking, I think, and had a full house at the Fairmont Princess. And I really appreciate the Chamber for putting that together, for all those who attended, and especially the Fairmont Princess for making it a wonderful event. And if you didn't make the event, we now have the link up for the recording of the entire event. So tune in if you couldn't make it. That is on scottsdalemayor.com and lots of other channels as well. So, and moving right along, it will also be airing periodically on Channel 11. I should include that. This week is Western Week. We're really excited about the Parada del Sol coming up Saturday. I think we're all going to be there in cowboy hats and boots. We hope you'll join us. And it's, of course, one of the biggest days of the year here in Scottsdale. And then we have the Hash Knife Pony Express coming in That's Friday, right? That's Friday. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Well, they will be delivering mail to us, truly. This is a really exciting event, which will take place outside of the Museum of the West. Actually, the event's going to take place there, but it's the culmination of the Pony Express, who is traveling with mail, and we're the last stop. So come join us there. I believe the event starts at 11 a.m., so that's really exciting. And we'll be pushing out notice of that, and please call if you need any other details. And I've talked about the Parada del Sol, and which ends with the Trails End Festival. Of course, that brings our Western heritage front and center, and it is such a great big event, and we hope to see all of you there. And correction, Pony Express is high noon out in front of the Western Spirit Museum. So, looking forward to all of that. In terms of presentations tonight, we have no presentations tonight. Possible executive session announcement, as is the case at every regular city council meeting. During tonight's meeting, the council may make a motion to recess into executive session to obtain legal advice on any applicable item on the agenda. If authorized by the council, the exec session would be held immediately and would not be open to the public. The public meeting would resume immediately following the executive session, however. Meeting minute approvals. We have looking to approve the special meeting minutes of November 3rd, 2025, executive session meeting minutes of November 3rd, 2025, regular meeting and work study session minutes of November 3rd, 2025. And if there are no revisions or questions on those, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. All those in favor or opposed, register your vote. Excellent. Next, we have consent agenda items 1 through 13. Does anyone have any questions or look to have any presentation on any of the items on the consent agenda? Councilman Graham.
Can we pull item 10, Madam Mayor? Western Spirit.
Yes, and that was going to be my request as well. So
Okay, good.
we're on the same page. Excellent. So moving on, I don't see any more requests to consider or have a presentation on that. So with the exception of number 10, we have consent agenda items 1 through 9 and 11 through 13, and I'll entertain a motion to approve those items.
So moved.
Mayor, I apologize. Can you include 13A as well?
And 13A, my
you.
apology.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor or opposed indicate your vote, please. All right. So why don't we take number 10 and we'll go from there. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Borowski, members of council. I'm Rachel Smetana, the Tourism and Events Director for the City of Scottsdale, and tonight I'm bringing forward Western Spirit, Scottsdale's Museum of the West. They are requesting $90,000 for marketing funding. And on December 16th of 2025, the Tourism Development Commission recommended an allocation of $90,000 from the Tourism Development Fund allocated specifically for destination marketing. This request was made to help support the outreach efforts by the museum to attract new art lovers to the museum's opening of their new, and former Councilman Smith would have me add, privately funded expansion of their beautiful museum right here in Old Town Scottsdale. As we all know, arts is an integral part of Old Town Scottsdale, and this exciting new development provides an opportunity to communicate with the valley and beyond, to get to know our beautiful museum and remind everyone that Old Town is the place for exciting arts and culture experiences. So the Museum of the West brought forward a marketing plan, and these are some of the deliverables they intend over the next 3 months in advance of their grand opening week, March 24th through 29th. City staff has evaluated the proposal and has identified public purpose and direct consideration substantially equal to the proposed city's expenditure. So, here is the action we are requesting, and Todd Bankafear, CEO of Scottsdale's Museum of the West, is also here to provide information and answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
All right. Councilman Graham.
There's a public comment, Mayor.
Yes, Bob Pedgman. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Borowski, council members. Name is Bob Pedgman. My comments are centered on how to get most bang out of the buck, how to maximize the potential of the museum, how to increase visitation. So one of the things that happens when the council approves a big project is that certain promises and projections are made, and those projections are usually used to justify the approval, how it's going to impact and how it's going to improve the community. So back in 2013, I watched the entire session of the museum when they got the $13 million to build it. And there was a consultant that made a whole bunch of projections. I want to put this on the projector. As soon as it shows it. Okay. Let's see. You gotta put it down here. Okay. So basically, in 2013, the projection was made that by year 5, the attendance of the museum would be roughly around 100,000 visitations per year. Okay. To put this in perspective, the recent numbers, as the city has told me, are more around 50,000. In my opinion, if that was the 50-year projection, by now, this should be maybe 150,000. So it's certainly falling short. Now, part of what they said also in the same, you can see back down here, that's the consulting company that presented, that made the projections. It relied heavily on the museum attracting from the valley, from Scottsdale, from PV, from Phoenix Metro in general. So the question is, why hasn't any of that happened? The other thing I would say that if you listen to if you watch the council meeting, for example, Suzanne Clapp made a big speech about how the museum's purpose is also to activate the arts district. That was a major reason that it got approved. It's going to activate the arts district. Now, I'm not here to figure out why that stuff hasn't happened. I would say that one of the main reasons is that when they approved the project, they never put in a marketing plan. So they thought that by magic, they're going to get those numbers. By magic, they're going to attract these people to the museum. So there's been an absolute absence of a solid marketing plan. I don't know who to blame that on, but that's the fact. The museum is kind of like a lure to bring visitation down. It's an activation tool. I think we've forgotten that it's an activation tool. And we want to bring it back to have it be an activation tool. And here's my challenge. Let's say it's 50,000 visitation, and it's probably not all paid visitation. What can we do to bring it back to 100,000? But that's year 5, by the way. We're in year 10 right now. If we can set that as a benchmark, then the challenge becomes how to do that. And I think that's the real metric that can be used, that it's going to increase the visitation. And by the way, it's not increase, it's bring it back to what was projected. And I think if we can do that, it's going to make a big impact on how it's going to drive traffic to Old Town. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bob. All right. I have a couple of questions. I don't see.
After you.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
I didn't see you up there. Sure. I have a couple of questions. So this TDC approves its new events that over a 3-year maximum lifespan, $75,000, right? That's kind of our general criteria. Actually, it's not general, it's absolute, or it should be. And so is this coming under that program?
Mayor, members of council, no, it is not. That is for the new event development fund, the maximum of $75,000. This is specific to marketing. We did something similar to this, I believe in 2016, related to a Hopi exhibit. So it's not unprecedented for the bed tax to pay into marketing to drive more people to the museum and to Old Town Scottsdale, but this is separate from the event funding program. In fact, this would be taken from the city's portion of the destination marketing funds.
Okay, and then is there a sharing of expenses for the scope of this marketing program between the museum itself?
This was not contemplated with the match, no. We will only pay for receipts of advertising related to the opening of the Lewis Sands the Fourth Center and the Basha Western Art Collection. So they're gonna, we don't pay till post-event, so they're going to prove how they advertised and the expenditure around that. We reconcile that and then pay post-event.
So maybe these questions should also go to Todd. So does that mean the city is being asked to pay for all of the marketing expenses for this purpose?
This wasn't brought forward with a match in marketing. This is just direct marketing dollars.
So is that a yes?
The city is paying for, I don't know if you have additional expenditures. We are not requiring it with this contract, so I will.
Okay, and before we switch gears to Todd, if you know, hopefully you know, what is Experience Scottsdale doing to promote this new addition and the experience that comes with it?
And I think Todd has also had meetings with them and can speak more specifically to that. They do intend to support this as well, though.
And then I'm going to have some follow-up questions for you.
Madam Mayor, I can address that specifically. Experience Scottsdale is definitely planning. We've already talked to them, and our director of marketing is here, and working with Rachel over there to make sure that they utilize their destination marketing tools, the channels that they use across the country to promote this event and to promote this new 12,000 square feet that's being added to this Museum of the West, to let people know that there's a whole new set of attractions now at the Museum of the West. So yes.
Okay, two questions on that. When you say, and I should have asked Rachel this, when you say this event, can you explain what the event will be and what the time frame is?
There's the opening of the 12,000 square feet, which is going to be a week-long event. There's 4 new spectacular Western exhibits that are going to be inside of that 12,000 square feet. And we want to make sure that we only get this opportunity one time when we have a big new part of a facility to showcase to the world. And that's really the heart of the reason for the request for the $90,000 is you can only market so much with certain dollars, and adding this $90,000 on top of what we're going to spend is the ability to now go showcase on some TV, some radio, digital advertising, banners, all the things that we need to do to get that traveling art culture interest that's coming to town to come to our museum. Also afterwards, not just the 24th through the 29th. This is a long-term thing because we got a whole new part of a building that's going to be showcased to the world, and we want to make sure that we can allow people to know that it's actually happening. Without this 90,000, who's to know that it's going to be able to have the ability to have people show up, right? And so we want to have the week of opening, showcase it to everybody that we can outside the state of Arizona as well as our neighbors in our state, and have them know that this opening includes the Eddie Basha collection from East Valley and all the other exhibits that come with it.
Okay, Todd, what is the museum's portion of the marketing budget that is parallel or analogous to the marketing budget that you're asking the city to fund for $90,000?
Well, we have been spending a good amount of the money curating these 4 exhibits that have been able to be that we are going to be able to market about this event. And we're going to, I don't know the exact amount, but we are going to have marketing expenses on top of the 90,000. You have an idea, 150 or so total with the 90 in part of it? But we can't,
I'm sorry, did you say the 90 is
part of it.
included in
Included in the
150?
150, yeah.
And so over what span of time is that?
We've started already.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so that budget has been presented to Rachel and the city? What your part is?
Yes. Not all of it, because we're going to provide receipts to do the audit at the end to showcase all the things that we're doing. But you can guarantee that we're doing TV, radio, concierge targeting around the valley, print, banners on the streets, and direct mail campaigns.
And do you know, have you had discussions with Experience Scottsdale, what they're planning to dedicate in terms of financial resources allocated to this particular?
Don't have the dollar amount, but they've committed to us to help us market this outside the state.
Okay. I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Graham, and I believe, Councilwoman McKellen, excuse me, is next, unless, did you jump down?
I'll go in order, that's fine.
Okay, so I'm going to circle back before we move on to the vote, but thank you for the answers. Councilwoman McKellen.
Thank you, Mayor. Rachel and Todd, when the Museum of the West first opened, and the size of it, similar to what one of the former speakers spoke, Mr. Pejman. So are we doubling in size with this extra
No.
12,000? Is it a third larger?
Yeah.
About the size?
Yeah. We've gone from 43,000 square feet to 55,000 square feet with this addition.
Excellent. And I understand the importance of what you said, the hitting it hard one time. You can only have one grand opening
Yeah,
of a new
one
event.
time.
And to even get the Eddie Basha collection, which has been sought after worldwide, for it to be coming to our Museum of the West, which is also a Smithsonian authenticated venue, museum, is quite remarkable. So anything we could do to make sure that more people attend on a regular basis, as my suggestion with this marketing would also be that people understand not just the collections, but that they can rent out the Museum of the West and that it can have wedding receptions, and making sure that it is a dual process when we're publicizing it, so we have more return on our investment for the future. Just my suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Whitehead.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, guys. Most of the people up here weren't here. I think it was 2023. Wasn't that the magical year where every time you opened a drawer, you found gifts of art and money? And was it 23 or 24 that I just wonder if it might be worthwhile to tell the story of how we got to where we are today with this grand opening, because there was a large gift of money. There was obviously the collection, the Basha collection. Can you just kind of review
Yeah.
that?
Councilwoman Whitehead, the Museum of the West was afforded the opportunity to receive the Eddie Basha collection. And as Councilwoman McAllen talked about, this was one of the most highly sought-after collection of Western items in the world for a lot of reasons. It represents a lot of the top cowboy artists in the world. And so when Eddie Basha wanted to buy a painting, no one would get between him and that painting when he was, he would end up getting it. And he has secured some of the greatest art there is. And so we have the opportunity now to showcase that in a museum. It was in the gallery down in Chandler on his Basha's complex for the last 25 years, and now it is coming to the museum, and it's already starting to be curated in our first floor of our new expansion. And so when that was afforded to us, then we had $12,000 donation from Louis Sands IV so that we could build the proper museum complex for this Eddie Bassett collection. And since then, we've now determined what we're going to curate the rest of the museum, or rest of that 12,000 square feet with 3 other exhibits. And so we are going to have one of the largest Hopi pottery collections in the United States will be in the Museum of the West in this new expansion area. That's one of the other exhibits. And then we'll have Native American jewelry, which will be one of the largest Native American jewelry collections ever. And the Vision of Bronzes from Charlie Russell, Remington, John Coleman, all the great sculptors of the United States will have their bronzes in there. So we are showcasing this with some of the very best. And as I said earlier on, we don't get to do this opening other than one time. So we're going to do it up the best way we can to showcase this, to get people there that then can go start telling people about how special this is. And I think Scottsdale's Museum of the West only deserves the best and have the best turnout. So,
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to put in context what we're marketing. And, you know, none of us were here, as far as I know, when the museum was built. I'm grateful every day it was built. That was a big risk. And, you know, I guess the projected numbers didn't turn out. But I cannot believe over the last 5 years how many changes have been made. I mean, this, you know, and these investments. And so I'm really excited about this. I also want to talk about the Experience Scottsdale dollars versus the decision a council that I was sitting on made, which was to have kind of internal control of marketing dollars, and that's what we're discussing tonight. And part of the reason was to focus in on, as the speaker said, the local traffic. And I think that's really something I'm interested in. I hear from visitors all the time that they've been to the museum, but I speak to residents all the time who have not. And so, I mean, that seems to be the focus of this $90,000. Would you, I don't know if you or Rachel want to expand on the target audience and how it's different from what Experience Scottsdale does?
oh, absolutely. we have to do a lot more marketing in the local market. We have the conversation all the time about people that show up that live 2 miles away from the Museum of the West, and it's the first time they've been there since it's been open in 11 years. And we're like, why do they not know about this? And there can be art connoisseurs as well, and just you wonder how they don't know about it. Just hasn't had the marketing juice to do what it needs to do, and we just really feel like this is one of the big opportunities that we have with this museum over the course of its 11 years. And so that's why we're requesting, we want to showcase this new part of the building, which is the city's building, and we want to make sure that we showcase it the best we can.
And so of these marketing dollars, is it who decides how, like I have no expertise as an engineer in marketing, but how to best spend those dollars?
Yeah.
And
It's direct mail to the homes in the local areas. It's
Okay.
utilizing the Eddie Bassett list.
Oh.
Make sure that we can tell all their fans that this is coming to the Museum of the West and things like that we're doing.
Okay, and I'm sure your board members are keenly involved. I'm seeing some of them in the audience with ideas too.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman Graham, followed by Councilwoman Littlefield.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Matana. Thank you, Mr. Bankhofer. You know, as I'm listening to these questions, I mean, just to be a little blunt, if people don't know about the museum, it kind of falls a little bit on the museum.
Well, just to be candid about that, Mayor and Councilman Graham, in the 11 years that we've been as a museum, the budget has grown incrementally, slowly, trying to build it up to a piece where we have enough marketing dollars to market that it's actually there.
Are you looking at like what your marketing budget should be as a percentage of your total operating expenses? Like, are you guys looking at metrics like that to make sure your marketing?
Our goal is to increase our marketing. That's our number one goal. And that's what we've started to do. We just have this opportunity now, one time, to say, we're opening up this glorious new exhibit space, and we want to showcase it to the world.
No, I am. So I'm a big believer in the Museum of the West, and I think it's an excellent asset. I love that it's Western themed. I love it's in our downtown. The city has invested in a significant amount of money. We built the building, and then, Museum of the West, Western Spirit, doesn't pay rent. So that's a big boost because we really care about it. When the museum was first started, it was, I think, a $400,000 annual injection was promised for the first 5 years. But that 5-year termination was waived, and so I think we still give that contribution every year, if I understand that correctly.
Correct.
And then, plus, we also last year gave sort of a one-time injection for some lighting and for some speaker and some seating upgrades, and that for some CapEx.
Mm-hmm.
That's
CapEx,
important, and
yep.
and we've been there, and we go there, and
Yep.
those are helpful and those are valuable. I agree with some of my colleagues, the Sands expansion, Louis Sands expansion, and Eddie Basha collection. A lot of money has gone into that. That was privately funded.
Yep.
So it's a real asset to our city. I guess maybe for Ms. Smetana, this is not Tourism Development Commission approved. Did the TDC review these funds? Did they make a recommendation on them?
Mayor, members of council, yes, they did. December 16th, they heard a presentation from Todd about more specifics on the marketing plan and recommended to bring forward to you requests for $90,000 for marketing.
And how was that number arrived at? Why not 50,000? Why not 150,000? What was the thinking behind that number?
Mayor, members of council, this was the number that we were approached with by the Museum of the West that they thought they could execute their marketing plan. And these are the dollars that they needed to formulate to finish that plan, to execute that plan.
So when you were there at the TDC, did you guys talk about how $90,000 would fit within their existing marketing strategy? Was that discussed?
Yeah.
And what were the conclusions from that discussion?
I wouldn't say that it was an in-depth discussion. Todd did go into the specifics of the marketing plan and how they were going to employ that in a little greater detail than he has here today. And it resonated with the TDC, and they unanimously approved bringing it to you.
Did you guys discuss the breakout across categories, digital ads, print, social media? Are there any partnerships? Are you guys promoting at the Waste Management Open? Are you doing anything like that?
Mayor.
I guess what's the
Councilman
breakout of how it's allocated? Was that discussed at TDC?
Yeah, but we didn't have individual numbers. We just talked about the categories that we were going to focus on specifically. And for the first time, TV came up, that we knew we would not be able to do TV if we didn't have the $90,000.
This was kind of asked, but who are you targeting? Are you targeting in-state? What's the breakout between in-state and out-of-state travelers?
Mayor Borowski, Councilman Graham, we are focusing on both.
Yeah.
So it's important that we utilize Experience Scottsdale, and we make sure that we are talking to our residents around the valley here as well, so that they know that this new expansion is taking place.
Do you have any firm commitments or anything in writing from Experience Scottsdale?
Nothing in writing, but
just for the public, I guess this is kind of also a promotional marketing opportunity. What What is the launch date for the exhibition? And you said it's a week long. When is that
March
week?
24th through the 29th.
So it sounds like you're going to start cutting checks here. Do you pretty soon to get the promotion? Is that right?
We've started, yes.
Are you you're confident that the full? I think you said that you're going to probably match it at $60,000 because you said $150,000 total marketing strategy for this.
Yes.
And are you confident that none of that's going to be banked? That's all going to be spent leading up to the March opening date?
Hopefully by then. We might have to do a little bit afterwards because we believe strongly this goes on forever.
Yeah.
Not that we're going to fund forever, but we're going to fund this for a while to make sure that we keep the enjoyment and enthusiasm going.
And have you talked to, have you worked with any of our partners, setting aside Experience Scottsdale, but Scottsdale Arts, Historical Museum, maybe, do you have any partnerships contemplated to stretch the dollars and get any sort of synergies with our other partners as a force multiplier?
Well, Experience Scottsdale has really stepped up and said they would help us. I mean,
Okay.
so we want to make sure we focus on out-of-state traveler, art people from the outside of the state as well, so.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bankoffer. Ms. Smetana.
Councilwoman Littlefield.
Thank you, Mayor. I am going to support this tonight, but I do think that your marketing strategies need a good review. From what I have seen over the past few years, it leaves a lot to be desired because you need to contour to when people are going to be in the downtown area and wanting to find a new place to go visit. And I'm talking primarily around the Christmas time when you have, thousands of people roaming around looking at Christmas lights. One experience I had which really brought this home to me was my husband and I had been enjoying the Christmas festivals along the canal bank and looking at all the lights and the lights in the pool and the canal and all this stuff. And we got on the bus and we took off into Old Town, downtown area, and of course immediately it got dark, right? And so we're traveling through the bus, and on the bus was one other couple, a couple from Canada. And we started chatting with them and talking to them and talking about Scottsdale and what all they could come and see and do and all this. And she said, well, don't you have a museum down here somewhere? And I said, yes, we have Museum of the West. She says, well, where is it? And we were driving right past the door, and it was totally dark. No lights, nothing. And I said, that's it. You can come back in the morning and go visit it. But you need to kind of plan some of the marketing, and this is just basic business, around when the people are going to be there, when the people are going to be interested in seeing stuff that are tourism related, because we have a whole bunch of tourists here. So to me, I'm going to approve this because I think we need the money in order to expand our marketing projects in this, but I think it needs to be a little better honed as to where we spend that money and how we reach the people who are already here but have no awareness of where it is, what it is, how it's doing, when it's
Exactly.
open, when it's closed, all of these kinds of things. So to me, that's vital, and I think Experience Scottsdale can help with that to some extent too,
Yeah.
and work with them on that kind of issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman DeBascus.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think what you're hearing is very consistent support for the Museum of the West. It is a point of pride for the city of Scottsdale. I think of the Museum of the West as an anchor for Old Town. It is a fantastic place to direct people to because it's beautiful, it's luxurious, it's a warm and wonderful place to come with really interesting Western heritage that really no one sees anywhere else, all accumulated in one place. So it's a very, very special place. And I think our consistent question is, what can we do to grow attendance? Partially because we're all thinking about how can we grow attendance throughout Old Town in general. And I think this is an opportunity for us to go ahead and say, if we grow attendance at the Museum of the West, that can have a definite economic impact on the remainder of Old Town. So what I'd like to suggest is that we not only consider this for our tourism plan that's coming up for review in February, but maybe we could ask you to come back and give us a presentation on the results of this 90,000 and the marketing plan that you have. And if there's a partnership that you're looking for from us, something like that, I think we're all expressing an interest in growing your membership and working with you, because we really value the Museum of the West, and we feel that you have a tremendous contribution to give to Old Town.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I don't see any more questions on the board, but I'm going to just ask another question that I didn't ask earlier, and that is, you may have heard, instead of doing the downtown and Old Town external marketing PR contract, the city manager has started to develop that in-house. So have you had any discussions, and that's for the promotion and marketing of the area you're in, as well as all of the downtown and Old Town areas. Have you had discussions with staff about, because as I understand it, there's $1 million, I think, or thereabout, dedicated to marketing, which our tourism, our staff will be executing and dispersing, directing traffic on. Have you had discussions with how your expectations or plans dovetail with what the city is now trying to do for Old Town and downtown?
Well, I can say that I've had short conversations with Rachel and Greg and Judy, but we haven't got into it deep because we've been caught up in the whole trying to make sure that we get this first 3-month campaign off the chart and going. And so we do know about that. We're familiar with it. As we talked about a couple weeks ago in here, promoting Old Town is very, very important, and it's not just us, it's all of Old Town, and making sure that that is still the place where everybody wants to come when they come to Scottsdale. And so I believe strongly that we should continue those conversations immediately.
Okay. And there was some discussion about Experience Scottsdale may not be the right, organization to be promoting this on a widespread level. I disagree. I don't know that much about the Basha collection or the Sands, collection. But if it's so widely acclaimed and known, I would think this certainly could serve as a national or international event. So I feel like tapping into Experience Scottsdale's expertise there, because what I'm hearing you say, and I'm a huge fan of the Museum of the West, huge fan, and I think that it can achieve bigger success than what we're doing, and I'm not sure how you do that, but some of this discussion may be helpful in terms of, as Bob Pejman pointed out, I was on the council when this whole concept was coming through on the private-public partnership, and the city was being asked to spend a tremendous amount of money, and back then I expressed serious concerns about really another city-sponsored art museum, right? I think that's probably exactly what I would have said. We have one on property here, over at Smoka. And while a different flavor, I did have major concerns about that becoming a city-supported facility. And you've done an incredible job with getting private funding, nonprofit funding through donations, and I think it's outstanding, it's stunning. But I can't vote for this tonight based on what I've heard and what I've read. I don't think there's a clear marketing plan. I don't think there should be an allocation of what the city's going to be spending. I know it's up to $90,000, but it should be specifically set out. I think there should be, in all honesty, an equal, if not more, match, much, maybe, I would say more, match from private, or fundraising dollars, right? Yep. And when groups come to the city to ask for money from the tourism, from bed tax or for any reason, right? We have a very high level of scrutiny, and I haven't heard that tonight. Like, what exactly are you going to do? And I do think that given the fact that the city has decided to start its own internal push to market and do public relations for Old Town, you certainly fit well within that box, if not the centerpiece of that box. So I think there's an opportunity there that hasn't been investigated yet or fully looked at. And I know how hard you guys work to do this, but if it were just up to me, I'd say it's a no for today. Go back, work with your board of directors and your internal team, Experience Scottsdale and the city, and see how we can get a pie of money that isn't all on the city's shoulders. So that's all I have to say on that. And great job. I know we're putting you to the test tonight, and you've answered the questions. I just think we can take a finer pencil, sharpen the pencil to this one. Councilman Graham.
Mayor, thank you. I will move to adopt Resolution 13580. Councilwoman Dubauskas made some excellent points. I thought that her comments were spot on, and I'd like to, if I could, Mr. Parliamentarian, maybe adjust my motion to modify it to say that, on the condition that they come back and report how the marketing program went as far as, and this is maybe for the contract administrator. I know that Steve Gigama is the contract administrator, but Ms. Smetana, I know you supervise him. I don't know what I want to look at, but I mean, maybe come back and give us a breakout of, by category, how things were spent, key performance indicators such as attendance increases, visitor origin data, maybe some estimated incremental economic impact. Maybe you can do some sort of return on investment calculation for us, and then we'd also like to see kind of maybe some details of the monies that you guys put in, how those were contributed by the museum, and just to give us the taxpayers some confirmation and assurance that both sides of the money were spent, nothing was banked, and everything was deployed so we can maximize this rollout for this massive investment that we hope is going to be wildly successful. I hope you send us an invitation because I'd like to be there for it, and that's my motion.
March 24th at 2 p.m. and hopefully is on all of your calendars, because I have sent that over a couple months ago.
Though that's going to be a big day for the city and for the downtown, and for your museum.
Yep.
And
Big showcase.
I'm sure you're getting your speech ready, and and so if I can make that motion.
I'm going to second the motion, and I'd like to speak to my second. Okay. Are you done?
I'm done, but
Graham?
the city attorney.
City Attorney.
Mayor, members of City Council, and Councilman Graham, what I would recommend in terms of your motion is make it two parts. The first part, adopt the resolution because it adopts the contract, and then a second part to your motion would be to direct staff to bring back the information that you just requested.
So I'll move to adopt Resolution 13580, and then I'll move to direct staff to bring the Museum of the West and the contract administrator and the tourism director back to report on the success of the program, including a breakout of expenditures by category, key performance indicators such as attendance increase, visitor origin data, and other metrics, clear calculation of the return on investment, breakout of Museum of the West portion of their marketing dollars, and did I say anything else? And that kind of covers, so just kind of a brief thing just to make sure our taxpayers know that oh, and then also just clarify that everything was spent and that there was nothing banked, so we can maximize promotion for the event.
It'll be spent.
Okay, I'll second that. And I just want to comment that I think this discussion has been really good, and but because of the timing of this event. I don't want to, I'm going to support it too, but it is, you know, it is the kind of information that, you know, had we all been ahead of the game in November, December, we could have been asking for, and more clarity on how these dollars, but I very much like the idea of seeing how it works, and I'm rooting for huge success. It's amazing what has happened at the museum over the last 3 years. So.
Thank you.
All right, Councilwoman McCallum.
I just want to make a comment. Actually, my question is a clarification question for Ms. Smetana. With the TDC, when we give money out to groups, they have to come back and report, correct?
Mayor, members of council, they always do a post-event reconciliation. We rarely just have these marketing requests. So we always get those and deliver those to the Tourism Development Commission. There are some of the major events like Canal Convergence and you know, a lot of the new event development do come back and present, especially if they think they are going to request it again. It's not for certain for every expenditure, but often we will hear from those folks again, and everyone has access to the post-event reconciliation.
Okay, I just think it would be a great practice, and then that way, when groups do come back to us, we know if we've had return on investment, we know if you've done what you said you're going to do. All the questions that occurred here tonight would be answered. So that's just my thought.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Quasman.
Thank you, Todd. Can you just tell us again what the date is on that event?
March 24th,
So thanks.
2 p.m.
Mr. City Clerk, do we have a council meeting that night?
Yes.
But it's earlier.
Right, it's at 2 p.m. though, correct?
Yeah, our event starts at 2.
Okay. I just want to make sure in case we had to change times. Measuring twice and
We actually had
cutting
that in
once.
mind when we set 2 p.m.
Thanks.
And Councilwoman Littlefield.
Thank you, Mayor. I will also be supporting this tonight, but I would like to suggest or ask that when you come back and talk to us again, that you show how you plan to interact with the other tourism businesses in the downtown area, and to see if you can all kind of add on to each other and build a unified downtown tourism attraction center, and actually help each other and make a connected branch. I guess that's what you want to say.
And I think that's in connection with your question, Mayor, about this new set of funds that we're going to use. That is a big part of that.
Good.
Getting
because
everybody to work together.
I think it's very important. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, I don't see anything further, and with that, let's take a vote. Thank you very much. All right, we do not have any citizens' petitions tonight, but we do have non-agendized comment period. So with that, we'll turn to the non-agendized public comments, starting with Steve Sutton, followed by Dan Isaac, Melissa
Do you have
Kemp,
any agendized item?
Marcus Don Powell, and Justin Allen. We'll step right over here to this podium, and Steve Sutton.
I'm going to need use of the projector. Could you please turn it on? Thank you. Steve Sutton, address on record. Good evening, Honorable Lisa Borowski, Mayor of Scottsdale, and other council members. This is the 2019 City of Scottsdale bond election pamphlet that has 3 ballot questions. Funding for bond parking structures and other community spaces and infrastructure is only mentioned in question 2, where it is written, shall the City of Scottsdale be authorized to issue and sell up to $112,300,000 aggregate principal amount of its bonds to provide funds to design, acquire, construct, reconstruct, improve, furnish, and equip municipal facilities and improvements, infrastructure facilities and improvements, public parking facilities and improvements, streets and transportation facilities and improvements, pedestrian facilities and improvements, event space and improvements, and community and open space infrastructure and improvements, including acquisition of land or interest therein necessary for any such purpose, and to pay all necessary legal, financial, consulting, and other costs and fees in connection therein. Also included in the election pamphlet was a list of planned projects, the operative word being planned because these projects were not promised. Now, the simplest way to explain this difference between planned and promised is with quotes from an Arizona Progress article authored by Councilwoman Solange Whitehead. Quote, is the council's job done after the bonds are voter approved? No, absolutely not. Each individual project will still be subject to council review and approval, end quote. These quotes allude to the fact that projects can be canceled due to lack of council approval. They are not promised. So what were the planned but not promised projects regarding parking? None are mentioned in the question 2 ballot language, but there is an accompanying list of projects that has 2 projects mentioning parking. The language of the first project, number 15, is very specific in designating size, location, and purpose in stating, build 200-space parking lot off 75th Street to serve the City Court and Scottsdale Stadium. The second project, number 63, does not specifically state size, purpose, or location. It only states creating multiple buildings in an area exceeding a square mile in size using this language. Build parking structures in Old Town Scottsdale. In fact, of the 20 listed projects accompanying question 2, this is the least specific in size, location, and purpose. Any council member that previously claimed voters voted for a garage to be built at the parking corral or in historic Old Town was not being truthful. Any council member, after hearing my public comment tonight, who continues to make that claim should be considered to be deliberately lying to the public. Thank you, Mayor Borowski.
Thank you, Steve. Dan Isaac.
Dan Isaac, address on record. In the past, I've spoken about hypocrisy and audacity. The words today are mendacity and idiocy. I'm going to start with the latter. A year ago, when the City Council, in order to appease a vocal, rabid faction of their supporters, got rid of the sustainability plan, that was idiocy. When they did that to diversity, and not DEI, diversity, because the city did not have any quotas or preferential hire, so it was just diversity, that was also idiocy. It was idiocy not just because it was bad policy to remove them, but it subjected our city to a PR nightmare. We weathered that storm, well, until last week, when somehow, through amazing incompetence by our city manager, not only did the NAACP feel unheard, they felt so disrespected that they are threatening a national boycott of Scottsdale. The NAACP is a 117-year-old organization that is well-respected and very powerful. If an executive of a corporation created such a faux pas, that executive would either be terminated or, to take a play out of Mr. Caton's book, put on administrative leave unpaid until an investigation is held. I think the council should consider such action. Now let's talk about mendacity. At the last meeting, Barry and Jan repeated lies about the budget for an outside advertising agency. First, Barry kept saying it was $1 million of overhead. I know math is hard, but he's an accountant. He should be able to do arithmetic. It wasn't $1 million. But he likes saying that because it's a bigger number. More importantly, if any of you believe that only 40% was going towards professional services and the rest was overhead, you have a profound misunderstanding of how professional services firms work. You are paying for expertise. You cannot do an advertisement without developing the content. You cannot figure out where to put that advertisement without doing analysis on the market. To say that it was all overhead is as absurd as saying that when Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel, everything but the cost of the paint was overhead. No, you are paying for skills. So to call it overhead was either idiocy or mendacity. And lastly, the vote was to deny the contract. Nowhere did the vote direct our city manager to spend thousands of hours of internal staff's time to take it in-house. I believe that was an abrogation of his responsibilities, and again, this council should discipline him for making a decision that is actually the council's purview. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Melissa Kemp.
Hi, I'm Melissa Kemp. McCormick Ranch was here 2 weeks ago. I'm back for part 2 of what I hope will be a series based on civic responsibility and our public comment. In my first part 1, I tried to focus on a specific form of resident input, which was open public comment. That's what's happening right now, and its importance to you as a form of early warning from your residents about what's going on in their neighborhood. Tonight, I want to speak a little more broadly about civic engagement as a rule or as a whole, which includes open public comment, but it's bigger than that. It can show up in public comments, but it also shows up in other ways like the sustainability plan. So I didn't know that that was coming up earlier, but I can't help but notice that we had a sustainability plan a year ago that was discarded by the city council, despite the fact that the creation of that plan was through civic engagement that spanned multiple years, hundreds of residents, thousands of hours, and had massive amounts of support from your community before it was just completely discarded. You had other options. You could have put it into a work study. You could have pulled it back and done some trimming. But no, you discarded it. So you basically discarded civic engagement. So here we go. Highly engaged residents who engage in work like that and bring it to you, they're not a problem to be handled. They're an asset to be valued. They come in all kinds of personalities, all kinds of shapes, and all kinds of voices, some easier, kinder, gentler. But at the end of the day, when residents care enough to show up and speak up and unearth problems and participate in the solutions, that is a precious resource to be valued and respected. Replacing the level of effort through staff time that those thousands of hours of citizen unpaid volunteer labor created would be very expensive. And let's go further. That still paid labor would not deliver the same level of resident knowledge that was in that plan and the amount of buy-in you had from the fact that the plan was coming from your citizens themselves. So when engagement is recognized in values, your solution sets increase. The decisions that you make improve. The stewardship of our tax dollars gets better. Your costs are reduced. It makes good sense, good fiscal sense, to value civic engagement. It's an asset. The opposite, when residents are dismissed or discouraged, the opposite happens. Participation narrows, people leave quietly, voices get quieter, but they just disappear. Trust erodes, and as a result, your solution sets decrease, your costs increase, disagreements and legal implications increase. It's just nowhere good. So when residents see that years of effort can be set aside that quickly and discarded, a lesson's learned. Investment of their time and talent stops. From a stewardship perspective, this matters. This council in the last year has poorly stewarded what was the gift of precious, active civic engagement. I'd ask you to rethink that.
Thank you very much. And next we have Marcus Don Powell, and last we'll have Justin Allen.
All right, I've got a couple crucial and critical, vital issues here. Did we turn this on? There we go. All right, 2020, my children were abducted by DCS, no cause at all. Case was dismissed. Everything was found to be without merit. Through further investigation into it, in order to take children, you have to get an approval from a judge. DCS just can't come in and take your children. So, in order to create a sense of urgency, the Attorney General and the Department of Child Safety made this declaration. If you could zoom in on it, I've pointed out the numbers and such. But what we have here is a declaration from the Department of Child Safety that basically cites a case number. This case number was submitted to a judge as a cause of an alarm that the children were in some sort of danger. This was signed and notarized by both the Attorney General and the Department of Child Safety. Upon further review, my discovery there is upside down, but that's okay. Upon further review, you can go match this case number with public record and see that this case was dismissed. Therefore, inside of this notarized declaration from the Department of Child Safety and the Attorney General that states that everything herein is true and accurate and that these children are in danger is in fact the opposite. Inaccurate. This case that they cited as alarm for the children to be taken was actually false. That case had been dismissed many years ago. Subsequently, I was placed in the children were taken, so I went from a single father with 2 children and a 3-bedroom home. They took the children. I was claiming assistance. I was claiming my right to benefits because I qualify through ADA. And they placed me in a unit with black mold all through the unit, and I lived there for over a year. There's black mold. I lived in that unit right there for over a year. Can you see that? Lead paint. Lead paint was in this unit. Proof of lead paint test strips right here. Yeah, look at that, dark. All right, so I lived in this toxic environment for over a year. Finally, after a year, they came in to ask me to move to a different unit. I had the big 40-inch TV. I asked them for assistance. I asked them for a rolling quarter dolly. They refused that reasonable accommodation. A few weeks later, knock on the door. EPA's there, kicked me out because of a health hazard. Big, bright orange sticker on the door, health hazard, gotta go. I contact the place, the agency that was doing the housing and the funding. Hey, what's going on with my ticket? They just ignore me. After a few weeks, they finally said, oh, you don't have a ticket anymore. You made threats to staff. Out of nowhere. Completely made up, stole my housing voucher, so I'm calling for an investigation into the housing agency because $2,000 a month, I have a permanent housing voucher. $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month over the next 60 years, that's millions. 80 years, if I'm gonna live another 60, 70, 80, that's over $1 million. Crimes and heists have been committed on much lower motive than $1.5 million, couple $1 million. And so I'm calling into investigation into Section 8, Home Inc., and any housing agency, because I'm telling you right now, somebody stole my permanent housing ticket and they just ignored me now. I can't get a hold of Section 8, they just ignore me.
Thank you very much. Sorry to hear about all of that, and we wish you the best of luck. And
do you have any suggestions on where I would go next?
I don't, and from what I can tell, this is not a city issue, but we're not, this isn't a time to engage with someone speaking on non-agendized items. So I'm sorry that I can't help you anymore with that, but wish you the best of luck, and thank you for coming to visit with us today.
You can help me visit. You guys have a great day.
Thank you.
I'm calling you.
All right, that concludes the non-agendized public comment.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Councilman Graham. Oh, there we go. Sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to respond to one of the comments that was said because there was, because my name was referenced to.
Okay, go right ahead.
A comment was made, aspersions were cast against the city manager. And I just want to say that Mr. Greg Caton is proving himself to be a steady professional and results-oriented city manager who I believe consistently puts residents and taxpayers first, and his calm leadership and focus on public safety and ability to manage complex issues makes him the executive our city needs. So thank you, City Manager.
Thank you. All right. Moving right along, we've added a new rule for council members to provide reports. And just a comment, I don't think we discussed this when the rules were discussed, but it would be helpful to have this indicated on the agenda moving forward, so maybe we can talk about that at some point.
Oh, Mayor, it is on the agenda.
I mean, identified with who's going to be issuing a report is what I mean by that. That could be helpful.
Mayor, if I may suggest that you do it calling them by seniority. And we'll be sure to.
I'd rather just go with the board because maybe everybody does not have a report, you know what I mean? So
Okay,
I'm going to
sounds
stick
good.
with
Thank
the
you.
protocol. Councilwoman Littlefield, who, by the way, happens to be the most senior member of the board here. So there we go.
Does that mean oldest?
Doesn't necessarily mean that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Wisest.
Oh, I'll take that one. Oh, thank you. I just would like to let everyone know that the council's open meeting invitation is now available to anyone who wishes to speak directly to the council members regarding an issue which is concerning to them. We are currently holding these meetings here in the Kiva from 4 to 6 p.m. on Monday afternoon before the Tuesday council meetings. Two of us, Jan and myself, were here yesterday to listen to citizens directly regarding their concerns, and they do not have to be concerns that are on the agenda, just city concerns. I believe it was a very positive session, and at least some of those concerns can be addressed fairly quickly now that we know about them. Some may take a little more time, but at least we're on our way. If you have similar Scottsdale concerns, tonight I am inviting you to our next session, the Monday afternoon before the next council meeting from 4 to 6 p.m. The next council meeting is February 10th, so our next meeting will be February 9th, here in the Kiva, 4 p.m. If you have a Scottsdale issue that is concerning to you and about which you would like to make us aware, please come and sign in. It does not have to be an item that's on the agenda. The front desk will be manned, and we will have police here as needed. We will talk one-on-one and see what we can do to help. Even if we cannot help directly, perhaps we know someone who can. The next meeting, as I say, will be here on the 9th, and there'll be at least 2 of us, maybe 3. We cannot have more than 3 because of the laws about having a maximum number, a majority number. So if you have something that is of concern to you, last night we had 2 people show up with very vital concerns that we had not heard of before. And so it was a very interesting meeting and a very interesting conversation with both of them. We also had another gentleman here to reiterate a concern that he had. So please feel free to come if you can. If you have an issue, let us know. We can't help you if we don't know about it. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm going to interrupt council comments or reports to go back to Justin Allen. I jumped ahead and thought we were already to Justin Allen. My apologies. I hope that wasn't him that just left. Anyone know? It was? Oh, someone go grab him. Oh, thank you, Rachel. Appreciate you. All right, let's go back to the council comments with the understanding that if we can get Justin back, we'd like to hear from him. Councilwoman Whitehead.
Yeah, I just wanted to share a memory. Wait, see, he's coming back. Okay, let's let him go first.
That's great. Justin, my sincere apologies for that.
Thank you very much.
I thought, is that him leaving? Because I recognized it.
Yes,
after.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
Of
you
course.
letting me speak today. There's, when my phone died, I had what I wanted to say written on there, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of unfortunate circumstances that are happening in the world, and I was brought here. I was drawn by the Holy Ghost to let you guys know that we seriously have a lot of fraud, a lot of misappropriation of funds that are going on in this state, a lot of mortgage fraud, deed fraud, and we have foreign agents that are working on our soil against Americans and Scottsdonians alike. And this is a huge problem that needs to be addressed, and we need to restore peace and justice in this world. And you guys are the leaders, and you guys have a duty to do that. So thank you very much. You guys have a beautiful evening.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Justin. We appreciate it. All right, Councilwoman Whitehead.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to share that the city of Scottsdale lost someone really special who was a friend of mine, and his name was Rick Kirsten. And he was one of my first friends when I moved to Arizona, and I went to the same gym. There were only 2 gyms at the time, and so he and I went to the same one, and we both only went to the gym so we could justify our coffee, so we sat around and had coffee afterwards. And it took me years to understand so much of what he was to this community. He was an artist, I knew that. He was an absolutely amazing painter. He was a cartoonist. He had galleries, and he continues to have these greeting cards that are just amazing. But he and his brother produced the brilliant and iconic artwork for the Wallace and Ladmo show that many people who've been here a while remember. He also produced the cutest cartoons to promote the McDowell-Sonoran Preserve when it was just a twinkle in our eyes, and we thought, how are we going to get these 30,000 acres? Well, you want to talk about marketing, that was good marketing. And so he was just a great man, a father, grandfather, and again, an incredible artist. And the last time I saw him, not surprisingly, we bumped into each other in none other than our Old Town Scottsdale Farmers Market. So I just wanted to bring to the attention that we lost him, and he was truly just another special person in Scottsdale. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Whitehead. And now, are we going with Councilwoman McCallum?
Whoever.
Yeah, go ahead. You're next.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. He was a gem for Scottsdale, and so related to so many different people. We were talking about that before. Anyway, as part of the council's reports every week, what my hope is that you'll get to hear some of the activities that each of the council members have taken part of, because we all can't be at everything, but we can be at some things. And some of the exciting things that happened last week in Scottsdale, one was the WIMBY, which is What's in My Backyard, and I want to thank the city manager and his team in constituent services and neighborhood services, Jamie Peterman especially, for putting that together and continuing to put that together. There'll be another one coming up in a few months that will be in the south. This is the second one we've had, and it's just an opportunity for citizens to be able to go, and there's a table for every department in the city, and if there's a question you have before you leave, you will either get it answered or we will get your information and we'll find out a way to get that information to you. So it's just a real personable way for you to have an opportunity to be with all the staff who understand what your situation might be. And it may be a simple answer or it may be long-term, but the staff, the city staff has really dedicated themselves to this, and I appreciate the city manager going through with this and continuing this project. And you get an opportunity to tour whatever facility it's at. Last time it's been at fire stations this year. Next year they'll be at different facilities, but it'll just give you an opportunity to stay in touch with city staff. Another opportunity I had this last week was to attend the Scottsdale Serenade concert, which was at Pinnacle Presbyterian Church, which Councilwoman DeBoscus and her family attended, and Councilwoman Whitehead attended, along with myself and other members in the audience who are here today. But it was 75 years of history of Scottsdale through music. And we were laughing, we were even talking about it today. There were 2 ballads that they shared, one of which I had heard and one I had not, and they were ballads about Scottsdale. And I thought, how did I, who've lived here my whole life, not know this ballad? So we're going to make sure we get it sung, and we're all going to learn it. Maybe a sing-along, just kidding. But it was lovely, and the concert focused on the history of Scottsdale through music with a Western flair. Great program. This week coming up is Tonalea Middle School's National Junior Honor Society induction. That's tomorrow night. I think Kathy's going with me. And then, of course, on Saturday is the Prada del Sol. So this is just really an opportunity for you to know that we want to attend events, and if there's an event out there that you want a council person at, request us. Well, somebody's going to come to it. So I'm just happy that there's so many still very friendly family events that are here in Scottsdale. It's not all glitz and glamour, but it will be on Saturday, though. I guess the theme of the Prada is the diamond celebration. So kind of, would that be like electric cowboy type glitz? I don't know. Anyway, that's my report.
Thank you very much. Councilman Graham.
These are very good and positive messages, and I have one that's maybe a little sadder, but I did want to share, and the family doesn't know that I'm sharing this tonight, but I wanted to share mourn the sudden and heartbreaking loss of a dear family friend, Sarah Lucas, who was a brilliant and precious 13-year-old student at one of our local elite charter schools, who passed away last week peacefully in her sleep from the flu. Her bright mind, joyful spirit, and deep faith as a proud member of the Scottsdale Bible Church touched everyone who knew her, leaving an indelible mark on our community. And they held her services on Tuesday this week at Scottsdale Bible. Tragically, the flu claims perfectly healthy people every year, and it reminds us to stay vigilant with our health this season and hold our loved ones close and hug them a little tighter while we can. So we just pray for Sarah's family, the Lucas family, and her younger surviving sister, Scarlett, that her family and friends find comfort in the cherished memories that they have with Sarah, and in the love that she shared so freely, and in the promise of eternal hope that she embraced herself. And I don't think this is the best venue for this, but there is a, if you do search the Lucas family, Soprani and Steve Lucas, there is sort of a commemoration that can be used to help the family. But we pray for them, and we lost a very precious, beautiful soul from Scottsdale. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Quasman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And again, I echo Councilmember Graham's sentiments about the Lucas family, and may the author of life comfort the mourners during this difficult time. First of all, I want to thank the mayor and members of the council for all of their well wishes, knowing that my daughter, my newborn, was hospitalized this last week. I'm proud to say that Yael Yehudit is doing very well, and she's on the road to recovery from RSV. I want to give a special congratulations, a hearty mazel tov to Mendel Alush and his lovely wife. He is an assistant rabbi at Congregation Beth Tefillah in Scottsdale, and the son of the spiritual leader Rabbi Alush. So this would be Rabbi Alush's first grandson, Rabbi Nestor Alush. and who's going to be celebrating his 8th day. So he'll be having his bris tomorrow, and all are invited at Congregation Beth Tefillah tomorrow at 8 o'clock to celebrate that very special occasion. Hearty Mazel Tov on behalf of the council for the entire Jewish community and Scottsdale community as a whole. Also, tonight is, in the Jewish calendar, it's a very special celebration of Yud Shvat, the 10th of the month of Shvat. And for those in the Chabad world of Judaism, I certainly attest, even though I don't dress like a black hatter all the time, I very much am part of the Chabad philosophy. And this is the day that the Rebbe took the reins. This is the day of the Yortzeit, the passing of the 6th Lubavitcher Rebbe of righteous memory, and the ascension of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Menachem Mendel Schneerson, of righteous memory, to become the leader and really change the course of world Jewry and American Jewry, honored by Ronald Reagan, honored by Jimmy Carter, multiple presidents, and really is the impetus when you see Chabad houses around the world and every university. You know, the big joke is that Elon Musk is going to get to Mars and he's already going to find a Chabad house there waiting for him. So we're very grateful. And on the final note, I just want to say I wish I could make it to Parada del Sol, but it is on a Saturday, and so for religious reasons I will not get to make it. So I want to see everybody at the council and the mayor in wonderful pictures in their best cowboy gear. So with that, thank you guys.
Thank you. That concludes our council reports and our meeting for this evening. So with that, I will move to adjourn. All right, anyone opposed? All right, you get to stay here by yourself if you are. Bye.